Hello and welcome to today's webinar. Cosmetics Business is very proud to be working with Arbelle, and today we have Marcus Tamminen, Sales Manager and Team Leader, and Stephanie Antonen, Brand Manager at Cosnova, offering an insight into the importance of being authentically inclusive as a beauty brand. Please use the chat function to ask any questions you may have, which will be answered at the end. Now, over to you, Marcus and Stephanie.
So thanks for the introduction, Alessandro. It was really nice. And for all others, hi, it's super great to be here. I'm excited to discuss this topic because it means a lot to me. So yeah, let's get going. I was thinking today that we are now approaching the end of the year. It's already November, and this is a natural time for us to start thinking about the future. And when we are planning for 2025, this brings us a chance to reflect on where we are and where we can make meaningful and impactful improvements into our business. Today, I will be focusing on one topic that lies and stays very close to my heart, related to the beauty industry, which is inclusivity. It's not just a trend, it's a fundamental shift in how brands connect with their diverse audiences. As a matter of fact, embracing inclusivity is essential to stay relevant and to resonate and continue resonating with today's beauty consumers. So I'm here to talk about why it matters and how we can all integrate it thoughtfully into our brands. So I'll quickly just go through the agenda for the presentations. We will be looking at data-driven insights in what consumers are expecting when it comes to inclusivity. We will be listening to Cosnova's journey in becoming an inclusive brand. And then there will be a section of how beauty tech can help you meet evolving customer needs. And lastly, I will be sharing some important key recommendations for you to help you shape the plans for your 2025. And as a bonus for joining us, you will receive access to a free foundation inclusivity analysis, which is made by us at Arbelle, and a comprehensive report on inclusivity trends in cosmetics. Inclusivity sounds pretty straightforward, right? Maybe this means that we are all going to agree on one universal shade of foundation that everyone magically fits into. Of course not. It means a lot more than that. And this is what I want to highlight today. I want to deep dive into what inclusivity really means in the beauty industry. Okay, let's first break down what inclusivity is not. It is not to have a few token shades for deeper skin tones and surround them by endless options of lighter shades. Sometimes we see darker shades that are missing the mark on the undertones, which means that they are ending up looking unnatural when they are applied to the face. A common example is that we see this approach of featuring diverse models in ads, but without having inclusive product ranges to back it up. Another common pitfall is this, one-off diversity campaigns that aren't really a part of ongoing commitment to inclusivity. So it really requires long-term commitment, extensive resources, and extensive efforts to become truly inclusive. It's a marathon. It's not a short-term sprint with short-term goals and rewards. We see some brands are having a few products that are inclusive, which is a good step, but sometimes the rest of the products are not. And these uneven efforts can send mixed messages to their audience, causing a bit of confusion. Are they truly inclusive? Are they trying to become inclusive? Or are they just trying to use this to short-term rewards? And we also see that some brands are reacting defensively to criticism. So instead of treating feedback as an opportunity for growth, they're actually defending their stance and pointing fingers towards other directions and not taking their responsibility. So these are all examples of what true inclusivity is really not. In order to get to what inclusivity means in beauty, I would like to first share two quotes that I find really capturing the essence of inclusivity in beauty. The first one is, diversity is being invited to the party, inclusion is being asked to dance. So it's not simply enough to have a diverse representation. True inclusivity means that we are actively engaging with and valuing those voices that are raised. The second quote is, one of us cannot represent all of us, which reminds me that everyone's experience is unique and no single person can fully embody all the diverse perspectives within our community. So how can we invite our customers and your customers to this dance? A good start for me is to get to know them a little bit better so that we know what they are looking for. Here are some powerful statistics that underscore the importance of inclusivity in beauty. More than half of consumers favor brands that prioritize diversity and inclusivity, which tells me that this is not just a trend. It's a significant driver of consumer preferences. You also see that more than 70% of consumers agree that when they are considering a specific brand and the brand's products, personalization plays a really big role. And they expect and they value tailored experiences based on their own needs. And the last one being maybe most impressive, inclusive beauty brands have grown 1.5 times faster than their less inclusive competitors. This clearly demonstrates that embracing inclusivity isn't just the right thing to do, it's also obviously quite a smart business move, but it needs to be done in the right way. In order to define inclusivity, we need to take a look at some different groups, starting with maybe the most obvious one and the most obvious aspect of inclusivity, which is the skin tone. Here it's highlighted by the foundation range from Fenty Beauty. I think it evolved over time as well. But did you know that Black consumers are almost 6 times more dissatisfied with makeup products compared to their peers? So to me, this is addressing a significant gap in the market. And when you add the fact that more than half of the Black consumers cannot easily find beauty products that suit their skin tone, this shows to me that, you know, some brands are really out there making strides and taking the fight, but there is still a long way to go in ensuring that everybody feels represented. But we also need to think about gender inclusivity. So over a third of Gen Z consumers know someone who identifies as gender neutral pronouns. This reflects a growing awareness and acceptance of diverse gender identities. Before this research, I didn't have an idea, but more than half of men now have skincare routines. So self-care is becoming increasingly normalized across all genders out there. And this last bullet that I will share with you isn't just a statistic. I think it's a powerful indication of changing values. Beauty is no longer limited to traditional gender roles. It's evolving into a universal form of self-expression. For our industry, this, of course, opens up new opportunities to create inclusive products that resonate across demographics and reflect the diverse ways that people want to represent themselves. It's a reminder to all of us that the future of beauty is expansive, it will grow, it's expressive, and it should also be inclusive. One group of people that cannot be overlooked anymore is the older generations. Significantly, 70% of women over 40 want beauty products designed for perimenopausal and menopausal needs. The same amount, 7 out of 10, women say that they are more likely to buy from a brand that show people of diverse ages in their ads. So there is a growing importance of representing all these ages, making beauty feel accessible and relevant for everyone, regardless if or where they are in their life. The last group is also very commonly overlooked, but they are actually representing 16% of the global population. 95% of them feel that there are not enough accessible beauty brands available, and almost the same amount believe there is an insufficient representation of disabilities within the beauty industry. So again, a critical gap that needs to be addressed to ensure that beauty is truly accessible for everyone and anyone. Going further, there's a lot about social media today, and I would like to highlight the power of it in today's beauty landscape. Social media has the ability to make or break a brand's reputation overnight. In the digital age that we are in, consumers are more connected than ever, and their voices can amplify or diminish a brand's presence. It's not just about product launches anymore. Social media is the main driver of major trends and shifts in the consumer expectations, particularly when it comes to inclusivity. Brands that embrace diverse representation and engage authentically with their audience can thrive, but those that don't and those that fail to adapt, they risk facing a backlash and losing on the customer loyalty. So I'm telling you, listen to your consumers' feedback and be proactive in addressing inclusivity demands. Because if you ignore it, consumers, especially the younger generations, are quick to hold you accountable. I think that we can all agree that social media is not just a marketing tool, it's a very important component of how brands build their trust and relevance in the eyes of today's consumers. Let's take a look at Youthforia. This was a situation where they faced quite a lot of challenges when they released a new product line. So they encountered a significant backlash when their darkest foundation range, the 600, was compared to jet black paint. I mean, who would put jet black paint on any part of the body? The reaction on social media was swift and very intense, exemplifying the power of cancel culture. So this backlash didn't only affect the consumer perception of Youthforia, but it also had a huge impact on their brand image as a whole. Another example is Tarte Cosmetics. In 2018, they faced a significant criticism for their lack of diverse shades in their foundation range. And this oversight sparked quite a strong backlash from consumers who felt that they were underrepresented. Some of the comments are displayed here on the page, but what did Tarte actually do? So they recognized the situation and the impact of this criticism. So they took proactive steps to handle the situation, which was expanding their shade range to be more inclusive and also adjusting their marketing strategies to better reflect the true diversity of their customer base. So this response, what you see in white, it didn't only help them to mend their reputation, but it also demonstrated the brand's commitment to listening to its consumers and adapting to their needs. After going through, let's say, challenging situations for brands, I think it's now time to share a story about a brand that has been very successful in their inclusivity work, but also in their business in general. So I'm super happy to give the word over to Stephanie from Cosnova.
I would like to tell you a story about inclusivity and how we incorporated shade diversity as part of our product development. Before we dive into the project and more details, I want us to look at the consumers and what does beauty actually mean. Beauty, at the heart of beauty, is actually individuality. This means that the consumers have a core desire to see themselves reflected in the beauty products that they use. So beauty is always deeply personal, and consumers, they want to feel included, they want to feel celebrated, they want to be seen in the beauty world that often defines them standards. Therefore, the true beauty actually lies in understanding each person's identity, whether it's the skin tone, the style, or personal expression. Cosnova is a company that was built in the belief that everybody deserves to feel beautiful. That is our mission. So for over 20 years, we've been offering high quality beauty products at a very accessible price. Our mission has always been around making beauty inclusive and fun for everyone. We have the brand Essence, which is a very vibrant, playful brand saying, make beauty fun. And then on the other side, we have Catrice, which encourages users to own their magic by celebrating their uniqueness. Today, Cosnova is a global family business. We are a mass market leader, and we offer cosmetic products in over 90 countries worldwide. Last year, in 2023, we were one of the fastest growing beauty companies, reaching a growth of 32% and a net sales of 800 million euros. Part of the success and the high performance in Cosnova is coming from the focus on people. By people, I mean here people inside the company and people outside the company, meaning our consumers. And consumers have always been the very focus of our actions. Being open-minded is one of our key values, which means in today's world, harnessing a culture of diversity. It means no matter the gender, background, or race and age, having an open-minded set. I worked many years on innovation and in new business projects, and I've seen how actually the diversity and of the involved people in the projects makes us create better solutions. It makes us grow forwards. Currently, my project focuses very much on shade diversity and inclusivity, which I would like to tell you. As many other beauty companies and makeup companies, we struggled with one of the most complex challenges, which is the diversity of skin tones and how to create those foundation shades that actually really answer the needs of consumers and the individuality. We had to ask one of the main questions from ourselves: how can we cater the needs of diverse skin tones if we actually don't know the real diversity of our consumers? And I think this question was the starting point of our journey to really understanding the skin diversity and then driving this into our product development. So in 2023, let's go back a bit. So a few years ago, we created a technology called SkinCam technology. It's a patented innovation, which you can see as it measures in the picture there. So one of the things that SkinCam can do is that it can accurately measure skin tones. And this is what we decided in 2023 to put into action. We decided that we will measure real skin tones in 2 different countries. We chose US and Germany, US because of the wide diversity and Germany as our base country. We went to US and Germany and we measured the skin tone of more than 1,550 consumers. As a total, with the measurement, we collected more than 15,000 skin tone images. Additionally, we surveyed 4,000 consumers, meaning that they self-evaluated their skin tones, giving feedback of their preferences and the use of foundation to understand what does the consumer actually see and want to have. Additionally, we also measured more than 500 products from the market. And this was to understand where's the gap, how does the market look like, and where are the inclusivity standards when it comes to shades. After all of this, we could identify 427 different skin tone variations. Taking this all data, we came with the result of creating a foundation range called the Invisible Cover Foundation for Catrice. It's a range of 40 shades created entirely based on the skin tone data. So with real human skin tones matching that to color references. The foundation was launched this August, and it's available at the price of €6.99. This foundation range for us is not just another foundation range, but it's our direct response to consumers' needs when it comes to shade diversity. We believe it's the most consumer-centric foundation range on the market. Although bringing a wider shade diversity was needed, you're actually answering only half of the problem there. The real challenge and the real pain point that consumers have today is how can they also find the right shade out of the range? It was clear for us that in parallel of the shade development and understanding the skin tones, we actually needed to tackle the other side of the problem, which is how can we help consumers find their right shade? For us, the best environment was the online environment. This is where we see the biggest struggles. So this is the starting point for us for the shade finder. As the focus of skin tones had been always, and the consumers, the focus of this journey, it was crucial that we find a partner who equally understands the importance of diversity and skin tones. We wanted to create a shade finder that is trained on and tested on real consumers. So we did several consumer panels where we really tested the accuracy of the tool. And we wanted that the tool actually recognizes the widest skin tone scale that is available, especially trained for people of color who are very often underserved by the traditional beauty technologies. So this development journey combines innovation, it has inclusivity and technology, but it's not only about those, it's really about starting the journey and ending the journey with the consumers at the very center. Making beauty accessible isn't just about offering affordable products, it's about creating solutions that makes consumers feel good and bringing those solutions to all consumers. This is the real heart of the mission, to ensure that no matter who you are, where you come from, what's your skin tone, you can always find a beauty product that is about you. I would like to today end this presentation by showing the best, I would say, the best outcome that we can have from our journey. And that is, of course, the real reactions from consumers at the end of this journey. Thank you.
Skin and Skin. Also erstmal Color Match 1:1.
Catrice! Nach einem sehr, sehr guten Shade Match auch, würde ich sagen.
Moment, bitte zu Rossmann und holt euch diese krasse Foundation von Catrice.
Wie geil ist diese Foundation bitte?
Also für mich sieht es aus, als hätte ich kein Make-up auf.
Gut aus. Ich glaube, es sieht gut aus.
Thanks, Stephanie. That was, to me, really insightful. I appreciate your presentation. And I have to say that it's quite incredible to think that there are over 400 detected skin tone variations. It puts into perspective how complex and diverse our world is. I think that you and the team at Cosnova are doing an amazing job in making cosmetics truly inclusive. So yeah, thanks again for sharing this journey with us. We are seeing profound transformations in the beauty industry, with technology driving many of the changes that consumers expect. Social media has already changed the landscape, setting new standards for inclusivity and pushing brands to be more responsive to customer needs. But now we're entering in a new phase where immersive experiences like augmented reality are redefining what it means to shop for beauty products. Today's consumers are more tech savvy, they are more connected than ever, and they want to experience products before they buy. And they want that experience to be personal and engaging. Augmented reality isn't just a fun add-on, it's becoming a powerful tool that makes digital interactions feel almost real. This not only gives customers more confidence in their purchases, but also allows brands to meet the growing demand for inclusivity by providing a wider range of experiences that cater to different skin tones, ages, genders, abilities, and so on. Imagine the difference when customers can explore products in a way that feels engaging and personal, all from the comfort of their own space. So it could be at home, it could be at work, it could also be on the metro or whatever. This kind of immersive, tech-enabled experience helps brands build stronger connections with consumers, and is creating a sense of trust and excitement around their offerings as a whole. It's not just about selling a product, it's also about making the customer feel seen, understood, and catered to in ways that resonate on a personal level. Virtual try-on is becoming a real game changer in the beauty. Picture this: Sophie, who's a female customer, she's visiting your store and she's curious about the new lipstick shade. So instead of wondering how it might look, she can try it on virtually, right then and right there. So with just a few clicks, she gets the real sense of the color, the tone, and the style, all without leaving her home. So this instant access of trying products makes beauty more accessible and inclusive for everyone, regardless if or where they are or what they want to have access to. And it's not just convenient. By offering this experience, you're not just showing a product, you're creating a personal connection to Sophie. You're making her feel comfortable, confident, and most importantly, valued. One of the best parts is the quality of the virtual try-on. You can here see in the comparison side by side that the virtual try-on and the real product looks almost identical. This accuracy builds trust, showing that what they see online matches what Sophie will receive. And from a bit of a technical perspective, the widget that you just saw is very flexible. It's easy to integrate into any website, and you can fully customize it to match your brand's look and feel. And for the brands that are having more resources and capabilities, there are other interesting integrations options that we can explore together. For the brand, the virtual try-on is not just a tool, it's a way to elevate the entire shopping experience. Now I would like to introduce you to the world first inclusive virtual shade finder. So foundation discovery has never been this easy. Our shade finder uses the most inclusive skin tone model available, identifying each customer's unique skin tone within seconds and recommending the perfect shades and products, all without relying on subjective quizzes or guesswork. It's designed for every customer, and they can try on their recommended shades virtually, seeing a true-to-life preview of the product on their skin. And the shade finder also works omni-channel, so seamlessly on phones, website, in-store kiosks, making it versatile and accessible wherever the customer may be. So it doesn't only improve the experience, but it also helps to reduce the industry's environmental footprint by eliminating the need for endless sample shipments. So this innovation is now setting a new standard in beauty, making product discovery more inclusive, sustainable, and easy. I'm now very excited to share a glimpse of what is coming next, which is our Look Finder, set to be launched in 2025. And this is not just a typical product recommendation tool. The Look Finder will consider a customer's unique features like skin tone, hair color, eye color, seasonal variations, and even face shapes. So shapes of the eyes, shapes of the lips, and so on, to recommend not only the perfect products, but also tailored guidance on how to apply them for the best results. It will basically be a personal beauty advisor right at your fingertips, helping you to discover looks that are uniquely yours. So this will bring us a new level of customization, creativity, and we will empower customers and consumers to find and create looks that feel both authentic and inspiring. So let's talk a bit about our key recommendations. First, I want to sum it up. So what we have been talking about. Today's consumers expect more than surface level diversity. They want authentic representation that generally reflects their unique identities and needs. Consumers today are tech savvy and they are globally connected, so they are quickly recognizing when inclusivity is a genuine versus a performative effort. Brands that offer only surface level inclusivity risk facing a backlash, as audiences demand authenticity and can easily hold companies and new brands accountable. Brands that are slow to embrace inclusivity risk losing consumer interest, damaging their reputation, and facing this potential cancel culture backlash, as audiences increasingly expect brand to align with inclusive values. Lastly, brands that prioritize inclusivity in both their marketing and product development tend to stand out as industry leaders by genuinely addressing the diverse needs and the identities of their customers. They build strong consumer loyalty and influence. So here are my recommendations to you out there. Use social media platforms to directly engage with the diverse range of customers. Learn about their beauty needs, understand their gaps in your offerings. Listen to feedback, follow beauty trends, and build a genuine relationship with your audience to shape the future product launches. You can also collaborate with diverse influencers, content creators, and communities that reflect different ethnicities, skin tones, and beauty preferences. So this is all to ensure that your campaigns on platforms like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube reflect true diversity of your customer base. You should also prioritize diversity from the start. Conduct research to ensure that you're addressing the specific needs of underrepresented groups in beauty industry, such as women of color, people with disabilities, and so on and so forth. You should also consider the varying skin types and conditions that different demographics experience. Develop formulations that work across the diverse needs, ensuring that your products are accessible and usable by all. Another recommendation is to use this interactive technology and virtual try-on tech that is out there. So if you invest in digital tools such as the VTO app or Shade Finder, Look Finder, this will allow customers to explore your products in a more personalized and inclusive manner. Make sure that these tools also cater to a broad range of skin tones and hair types. And finally, while it might be challenging for smaller brands to launch with a full spectrum of shades, ensure that the shades you do offer are balanced across the spectrum, from light to medium to deep skin tones. Starting small is fine, as long as all customers feel seen and valued. And once initial products are well received, expand your range incrementally based on the feedback that you get from the audience. So ensure that every new launch continues to prioritize diversity, addressing the gaps in your current offerings. And as the very last point of this presentation, I would like to continue on the cliffhanger of free access that you all will get if you want for attending this webinar. So one of the most revealing tools that we have right now is the Foundation Inclusivity Analysis, which provides valuable insights into how different brands approach skin tone diversity in foundation ranges. So if you take a look at this comparison here, we see three different brands. One is a social media driven brand that recently has gained a lot of hype. In the middle, you see a well-established, I think all of you know this, it's a global brand. And then in the bottom, you see a brand specifically focused on inclusivity and diversity. And these are all their foundation ranges carefully mapped into this comprehensive skin tone scale. And this side-by-side comparison just shows how much foundation inclusivity can vary among the brands. By understanding this difference, brands can see where they might be leaving gaps in their shade ranges, giving you or them a clearer picture of how they can measure up in today's inclusive beauty landscape. It's not about maybe a single right answer, but about helping brands to make more informed choices that resonates with a diverse range of customers. So as a thank you for attending this event, we are very excited to offer you this complimentary foundation inclusivity analysis. And this report provides a detailed look into your foundation line. It highlights current gaps and opportunities for expanding your shade ranges, along with the analysis where you will receive tailored recommendations designed to help you reach a broader and more inclusive audience. And I think this report should and could be seen as a very valuable resource as you are continuing your journeys towards a more inclusive approach in beauty. Along with the foundation inclusivity analysis, you will also receive access to a comprehensive report on cosmetics and inclusivity. This report is packed with insights to help you stay ahead of the industry, covering the latest consumer trends and statistics, what are the major innovation drivers, and some examples of successful brand initiatives that are setting some new standards. And we will also be including an inclusivity forecast for 2025, giving you a look at where the industry is heading and how you can align with these trends. We hope that this report will become a useful resource as well and help you shape your inclusivity strategies moving forward. So how do you get this? To get this exclusive but free foundation analysis and comprehensive report on cosmetics and inclusivity, all you need to do is simply connect with me. You can reach out via email or via LinkedIn. I'll be happy to guide you through the next steps from there. On the slide you see right now, you find my contact details, my email, and also a QR code that makes it easy to connect with me directly on LinkedIn. So yeah, I'm looking forward to staying in touch and supporting all of your journeys out there towards a more inclusive beauty approach. With that said, I reached the end of my presentation. I want to thank each of you for joining. It's truly been my pleasure to share this almost an hour with you. I hope you found it valuable, and as I said, I look forward to connecting with all of you soon.
So thank you so much for that. That was a really fascinating and informative presentation on an incredibly important subject for the beauty industry. We've had some questions in from the audience, which I'm very keen to get your thoughts on. So in no particular order, how can you be inclusive without falling into the trap of woke washing?
That's a good question. I think I can take this one. So to avoid that, inclusivity really has to be baked into everything that a brand does. So it can't just be a passing trend. It's about having a real ongoing commitment that shows up in, let's say, genuine actions over time. So not just in these one-time campaigns that I was mentioning in my presentation, because people can tell when something is performative, and they can tell when something is authentic. Also, if a brand is transparent about its journey, even sharing, flaws and their areas where they are still working on, it goes a long way in, building trust with the consumers. So, in short, inclusivity should be a natural part of every decision, from the product to the marketing, so that it feels real and honest to the consumer.
Amazing, amazing. And Stephanie, a question for you is, what does our industry need to be truly inclusive?
Yeah, that's a big question. So, I think the whole inclusivity starts, of course, from having that right diverse representation. You know, you need to have the right people. You have to have the diversity that is in all parts of the industry, from, let's say, product development to marketing to leadership positions. So you have to have the people present in different areas of the industry. And I think the second thing what we've noticed is having accessibility, let's say like this, that you have products and services which are easily accessible. You can see that, for example, there's for when we talk about shade diversity, you have a lot of luxury brands which have many shades available in their range. But when you go to mass market, that comes to a very minority group. So you see that it's not so accessible. And that's the same thing what we did with the shade finder. We recognized that when we evaluated different tools, those tools are often trained on Caucasian skin types, unfortunately. And that was something that it means, how can we create accessibility in products and services and make it available for everyone? And then I think we just in general need to be more transparent. We need to have research to understand what are those groups and how do we involve the communities, what are the needs of the people. And it's a lot about dialogue and having this openness to talk about the journey and talk about the people. So I think those are starting points.
Definitely, completely agree with you there, 100%. And Marcus, I'll bring it back to you. How can you effectively promote inclusion with a sensibility towards more conservative audiences while also educating them and avoiding pushing them away?
I think the key with inclusion is to approach it in a way that it feels natural and gradual, focusing on real positive representation. For example, brands can highlight diversity across ages, genders, abilities without feeling like they are pushing a too big message. Just showing people as they are, so to say. Amazing. And I think that education can also help here, and brands can talk about the benefits of inclusivity, like higher satisfaction and higher trust, and how it leads to products that work for more people. I think it's about keeping things genuine and relatable without using a language that might feel a bit polarizing.
Oh, of course. And should these conversations be focused on Gen Z, or can it be applied to older generations as well?
I mean, I think that inclusivity isn't just about Gen Z. It's not only their issue. It spans across all the generations. Maybe they have been better at raising their issues and their values, but the older generation are also seeking products that represent their needs. I mean, I mentioned in the presentation, women over 40 also want products tailored to their specific concerns and needs.
Definitely. And Stephanie, I have some questions here for you. How can the beauty community engage in meaningful dialogue around inclusivity to challenge the traditional beauty standards and promote a broader definition of beauty?
So maybe starting from the meaningful dialogue. So if you want to have a meaningful dialogue, you need to invite those people into your, which is not always the case. So you need to invite them into the dialogue, and you need to be able to, or let's say, be open to listen to the different perspectives and listen to the different needs and listen to the different perspectives. So that's the starting point of the dialogue. So you need to be open-minded. You need to have different starting points. And I think then when you take it to marketing or wherever, I think we have to move out of this, let's say, this trend chasing idealistic world and go back to the people and go back to actually looking at the real stories and the people behind it. And beauty is a lot about self-expression and telling those stories and coming back to the authentic version of the people. So I think that's a way also that how you can find this more meaningful dialogue there.
Definitely. And do you feel that beauty brands can move beyond surface level inclusivity and ensure their products, marketing, and policies are truly representative of diverse communities then?
I think there's three different areas. So there's the product area, there's the marketing, and then there's like what you do inside the company, as like Marcus said a little bit. So of course in products you can take that into many areas, and I think one of the important aspect in products is to involve again and test all the products on the real people. So if you do, when we talked about shade diversity, that you really test the products on the different skin types and skin tones. And that's like a starting point to really have the right people there. And then when we talk about marketing or communication, it's of course you can have the representation in the images and the models, and that's something to show and to share and show the stories and examples of the people that are different. And then of course it goes to the internal topic. It has to be part of the having more diverse working teams and having of course a culture that supports this also inside the company. So that's of course like the start.
But what would your advice then be on how to formulate inclusive color cosmetics such as blush, contour, and lip products?
So you have to understand that when you formulate products and you want to consider different skin tones or skin types, the color always performs differently. You know that you might have issues of pigmentation, so you might need higher pigmentation for darker skin tones than you need for lighter skin tones. So it's something to understand actually how does color react with different skin types and skin tones, and that's I think one of the main starting points. And then what you can do is always consider in your formulations maybe having buildable textures or buildable formulas which are a little bit more flexible, so you can easily then adapt them more to the different groups of people and to the different skin tones. And like I said earlier, it's a lot about testing. So you really have to have the right people. You have to have the different skin tone groups and test the products on them. And that's unfortunately sometimes the example what we see on social media, that some products don't work on certain skin types, and then it backlashes. And I think it's a lot about having those products tested on the right people and the people that you aim for, and that you really see it works on the different skin tones and undertones and references.
Absolutely. And a question here, which I'm quite curious to know the answer for. How can brands then communicate inclusively while they're still growing their shade range?
I think the inclusivity is always it's quite a sensitive topic, and brands are always maybe partially also a bit afraid because you don't know how the consumers respond to that, and when you're not fully ready. But that's what I think we are all kind of in the journey, and it's a learning journey, and it's there's a lot to go. So I would always say, even if you don't have all the products ready and you're not fully that, then you can always be transparent and communicate about this. You can say what is your journey. You can show those examples, and you can start creating little focus groups or social listening groups and invite those people and have this, what we discussed, the dialogue with the people that to show where you're going and where you're heading at and what you want to do. And I think that's something that resonates with the consumers. So I think that would be always a starting point for brands to already start showing what are they doing and how do they want to tackle, because we don't know, we don't always have all the knowledge and answers, but at least we're trying to go to that direction and increase this culture.
Definitely. And on top of that, the finances as well, investment can be challenging as well. I think that's really a spot on answer. Fantastic. Those are all the questions we have time for today. Thank you so much for your extremely insightful comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone who joined us today. If we didn't have time to get round to your question, all the information has been shared with Arbelle, and they will be in touch shortly. I would like to thank Marcus and Stephanie again for their insightful commentary and responses to the questions, as well as everyone working hard behind the scenes to make this webinar happen.